The Force killed Luke. Not my words, Mark Hamill himself said on Twitter. But here's the plot twist. Snoke used the Force to kill Luke. Not only that, Snoke destroyed everything Luke cared about, his life's work, his school, and then killed Luke without anyone ever noticing, audience included. How didn't we notice? Before we go into today's video, I just wanted to thank everyone for the amazing support on our YouTube channel launch. We've already crossed 600 subscribers. Thank you guys so much, and please keep it up. Also, don't forget about our epic FX lightsaber giveaway. To enter, just subscribe, like if you actually enjoyed it, and comment below what color lightsaber you like. Contest ends December 1st. Now, to today's video, I want everyone to watch this scene very carefully, as it contains proof Snoke killed Luke.
Stop!
Notice how Luke directly looks at Kylo. It was almost as if Kylo was physically there. But how did he force project? We'll touch on that a bit later in today's video. But before we do, we first have to understand the difference between force bonding and force projection.
Can you see my surroundings?
You're gonna pay for what you did.
I can't see yours. This is something else.
When I first watched this scene, I thought they were simply force bonding, but that's not the entire story. A few key details tell me it's actually a mix of both force bonding and force projection. Let me explain. A force bond is a private connection between two people that allows them to communicate with each other remotely without any type of physical contact. For example, Luke and Leia's force bond is a perfect example.
Leia, hear me. Leia. Luke.
However, Rey and Kylo's force bond cross the line when they're able to touch hands and become visible to a third-party observer, in this case, Luke. What's the only ability that allows the user to physically interact with their surroundings? Force projection. How do we know? Whenever Luke force projected, he physically handed Leia Han's dice and even kissed Leia on the head. At the same time, he was visible by third-party observers. That's force projection. Y'all know who else thinks so? Rian Johnson. This is what he says. When Luke shows up, he's projecting. It's like a hardcore variation of what Kylo and Rey have been doing the whole time, and that's why it takes so much out of him. So, if Kylo really did force project, how did he do it? Snoke. As Snoke bridged their minds, he also created the force projection phenomenon with his immense power. But how did Snoke even know about Luke's plan to join Rey on the Millennium Falcon? It started way back on Luke's quest for something very special. The journey for secret Jedi knowledge. After the Empire's defeat, Luke scoured the entire galaxy looking for any surviving Jedi knowledge. He had help. Do you remember the old dude in The Force Awakens first scene? He ain't some random dude fishing for some pocket change. He's actually important. That's Lor Santika, and he actually helped Luke find the motherlode of all Jedi knowledge. Preserved Jedi archives. Do you know who preserved it? The chief librarian in episode 2, Jocasta knew.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
Turns out she survived the Jedi Purge like a boss and wanted to train the next generation of Jedi. But frankly, she was killed by Vader before she could ever build it. Luckily, Luke found all her research. And it was on this very journey that Snoke and Luke actually met to discuss the secrets of the Force. It was this meeting where Luke's life took a steep nosedive. Luke and Snoke's mysterious meeting. Nobody knew about Luke's school or mission except those in the Order and R2-D2. Who told Snoke about it? Luke probably did. In the official Last Jedi novel, they mention how Luke and Snoke met to discuss Jedi lore or Luke's findings. Since the First Order hasn't risen yet, he probably mistook Snoke as a fellow Jedi. Big mistake. The conversation gave Snoke some very crucial intel on Luke's precious plan to rebuild the Jedi Order, and that's when Snoke decided to form a plan of his own. Snoke's plan.
We lost our son. Forever.
No, it was Snoke. He seduced our son to the dark side.
At a very young age, Ben or Kylo Ren was responsible for mischief. Han and Leia sensed too much Vader in him and hoped Luke's training would solve the problem. It didn't. Snoke sensed Ben's natural tendency towards the dark side. All Snoke had to do was find a weakness, and he quickly found one by researching Ben's family tree and found a secret. Ben is Darth Vader's grandson. We're not exactly sure how Kylo found out, but when he did, he lost trust in Luke and the Jedi. He soon needed a different teacher, so Snoke positioned himself as the answer. Kylo's conflicted soul took the bait, and by the time Luke sensed the darkness and tried to stop it, it was too late. Kylo already turned. Luke's life's work was destroyed in an instant. His apprentices, the Jedi Archives, dreams, school, and Luke's soul. But it wasn't Kylo who broke Luke. It was Snoke. Snoke broke and killed Luke. How would you feel if someone destroyed your life's work in an instant? You'd probably break, and Luke's no exception. It was all part of Snoke's plan to undermine the balance of the galaxy. Who turned Kylo to the dark side?
It was Snoke.
Who bridged Rey's and Kylo's minds?
It was I who bridged your minds.
Who gave Luke the idea to force project?
Young fool.
Snoke. Snoke single-handedly broke Luke. But why? Snoke couldn't afford any competition. Luke was the last hurdle in his way of galactic conquest, and he needed him dead, and everything was fine until the Force awakened. After Snoke destroyed everything Luke built, Luke closed himself off from the Force as an act of Jedi pacifism. Snoke was content until Rey awakened the Force and found Luke. He became scared. Luke's the only one, as far as we know, that has the knowledge to create another Jedi. A Jedi that can undermine Snoke's grand plan. He had to act quick. He bridged Kylo and Rey's mind as a way to deter Luke from finding Snoke because, let's be honest, we all know what would have happened. So real nice kicking. And that's exactly what would have happened until Luke discovered Kylo and Rey having unprotected sex, or at least acts like they did, and decides to stay. But in that scene, Snoke deceptively left Luke a suicidal idea, force projection. Luke took the idea and used it to save the Resistance, leading to, as Mark Hamill described, the Force, or Snoke, killing Luke. But wait, how could the Force kill you? Isn't the Force good? Definitely is, but it's the way Luke used the Force that killed him. For example, let's say you've been working out for a few years, then you take a break for a while. Would you be able to lift what the younger, stronger version of you could? Definitely not. You'd have to slowly work your way up, and that's exactly what Luke didn't do. Instead, he decided to walk into Gold's gym after a few years off and tried to lift the heaviest weights, Arnold style, without any prior training. The result? Luke's death. And that's what's so clever about Snoke's deceptive move. He killed Luke indirectly without anyone noticing, including the audience. Crazy, huh?
Yes.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think Snoke killed Luke? Or do you think Luke died from other causes? Let us know in the comments below. And before you leave, if you enjoy this video, take a second to subscribe, like, and share with friends. Anything helps. Thank you guys so much, and may the Force be with you all.